The foundation for the plot with limitless potential is laid in the first season. The plot starts with Luffy's aspiration to unearth One Piece, the legendary lost treasure of Gold Roger, and ascend to the position of Pirate King. Although Luffy is passionate and full of energy, his route to his goals is paved with dangers. Only a small portion of the difficulties he would experience in realizing his dream are depicted in this season. Here is what the season's conclusion implies for him. Spoilers ahead. Ever since Luffy was little, he looked up to a pirate named Shanks, and wanted to be a part of his crew. Eventually, however, he decided to go out on the sea on his own and find his own crew. He found this confidence after he ate a devil fruit that turned his body into rubber, making him strong enough to fight the enemies he'll encounter along the way. But first, he must make some friends. Luffy's first friend is Kobe, whom he encourages to run away from the captivity of a cruel pirate called Alvida. Together, they end up in Shell's town, where Kobe expresses his desire to become a marine. Here, Luffy meets Zoro and Nami, who become a part of his crew, even if unintentionally. While Kobe is left behind, Luffy moves on to expand his team and make his way to the Grand Line, whose map he finally has. However, there are many others who want that map, and when they discover that Luffy has it, they attack him with everything they've got. On top of that, Luffy also has Vice Admiral Garp chasing him across the East Blue. Is Arlong dead? When everything seemed to be going the Straw Hat Pirates' way, Arlong shows up and wrecks everything. Buggy was abandoned by them in a shredded state when he was discovered by Arlong. The pirate chases Luffy and his pals to Barady after learning they have the map, where they engage in combat. Nami admits to working for Arlong the entire time, knowing that Luffy wouldn't be able to defeat him. He rejects her assertions that she was never a member of Luffy's crew. Later, it is revealed that Arlong raided Nami's village and killed her mother. To save her people, she decided to work for Arlong. They had a deal where she would buy the village from him for a set amount, so he wouldn't harass them anymore. However, Arlong never intended for her to leave, so when she reveals she has the money, he sends the Marines after her. They confiscate her treasure, and she is back to square one. Now that she knows she has caught herself in a bind and will never truly be free, she asks for Luffy's help in defeating Arlong and saving her people. In the final episode, the Straw Hat Pirates launch an attack on Arlong and his men. While the others fight Arlong's men, Luffy and Nami go after the leader. After a long fight in which Luffy realizes he is not strong enough to beat Arlong, the young pirate decides to take a different route. He knows that Arlong kept Nami all these years because she was the only one who could make a map for him. So, instead of killing Arlong, Luffy decides to end his dream by destroying everything he'd worked for. He begins tearing down the pillars in order to bring the roof down and level the entire building and everything inside of it. Arlong understands his strategy but is powerless to stop Luffy, landing a few punches to advance his plan. Finally, the entire structure crumbles, and Luffy is victorious. His pals wait impatiently for him to emerge from the wreckage. He emerges, demonstrating that he has survived and prevailed in the conflict. But Arlong is nowhere to be seen. Does this imply he has passed away? It is safe to presume that Arlong has survived this ordeal because we don't see a body, and because he is considerably stronger than Luffy. Later, Garp and the other Marines arrive on the scene, and he talks about arresting Arlong's men, but there is no mention of Arlong himself. This means he might have run away, knowing he would be arrested if the Marines found him. So, if he is alive, does it mean we will see Arlong again? The answer is up in the air. In the manga series, once Arlong is defeated, he doesn't come back, even though it was confirmed by the author that he survived. Considering how many more challenges await the Straw Hat Pirates, the Netflix series has a lot of options and storylines to consider in the coming seasons, so they might not be as keen on bringing Arlong back and concocting a new storyline for him. However, a TV show works differently than a manga, so the show's creators might find a way to bring him back after all. What happens to Luffy and the Straw Hat Pirates? Nami regains her independence, and her town is revitalized with Arlong gone. Garp and the Marines eventually show up though. When they fight, Garp demonstrates that he is significantly more powerful than Luffy, since the Vice Admiral is not in the mood to let his grandson go. Despite the overwhelming odds against him, the young pirate doesn't give up and keeps battling. When Garp finally gets Luffy by the throat and he starts laughing, he is reminded of Goldie Roger, the last king of the pirates, who laughed in a similar fashion before being executed. The comparison between Roger and Luffy makes Garp realize what Mihawk had told him. The two pirates seem to have some uncanny similarities, and who knows, Luffy just might do what no one else could. Maybe he could find One Piece. Garp lets his grandson go and reveals that he fought him to find out if he had the willpower to be a pirate. He was testing Luffy, looking for his weakness, checking if he would give up at the slightest inconvenience. However, Luffy proved himself capable of being a pirate. So, Garp gives him his blessings and lets him leave for the Grand Line to embark on his quest for One Piece. The Straw Hat Pirates gather towards the conclusion and discuss their aspirations. In addition to Sanji's ambition to locate the All Blue, Zoro wants to master the art of swordplay, Nami wants to create a map of the globe, and Luffy reiterates his desire to rule the pirates as king. Nami points out the presence of a strange mountain where the water is flowing upward as she guides them. She believes that this is an oddity, possibly a typo. They are traveling to the Grand Line as this is about the Reverse Mountain. The mention of the Reverse Mountain shows that the second season has many more challenges lined up for the brave pirates, but that's not it. Following his victory over Arlong, a bounty is placed on Luffy's head, consolidating his position as a pirate. The bounty is huge, showing that the government considers him a significant threat. The bounty means that every pirate, pirate hunter, marine, and anyone interested in making a lot of money, would be after Luffy now. This is on top of the enemies they've already made. In one scene, we find Buggy and Alvida in a bar talking about collaborating to get their hands on Luffy, because both have a bone to pick with him. This shows that Luffy's path ahead is full of dangers and enemies. Who is the mystery man at the end? Speaking of foes, the season's final scene features an unidentified man glancing at Luffy's reward poster, indicating that he would pursue the pirate as well. Despite the fact that no name is given, the two cigars are a clear giveaway. Captain Smoker is a fearsome marine who is committed to prosecuting pirates. His appearance in the last shot indicates that he will play a significant role in the plot for the upcoming season, possibly even taking on the role of the primary antagonist. Without giving away too much about the captain, we can tell you that he sees the world in gray, meaning he works by his own moral code. Not everyone is completely good or bad for him, and he doesn't shy away from collaborating with less bad people to catch the worse ones. Another thing to know about the caption is that he has powers after eating a devil fruit, which allows him to transform himself into pure smoke. Logtown, the scene of the infamous Goldie Rogers execution, is where the captain is. This is also one of the final locations before starting the voyage to the Grand Line. Therefore, Luffy and his team will have to pass through this town and run into the captain there. It will be interesting to see how things develop from there.